really detrimental, because in the face of everything, I'm still in some way loyal. And I know it's bad. I know it's dumb. And I fight thinking like, well, it's me being true to myself and true to my wants. But I think, looking at it objectively, my wants are stupid. I want someone who has battered me, who has broken me, who has tricked me and lied to me and cheated on me. And that fits one of the, reading this book on abandonment, that's one of the things. Like, when you've been abandoned the way I have, sometimes the victim, me, still holds on. And the reason is because I think I'm special. Because I think I had something more special than most people. I think I was luckier than most people to have the relationship I did. Now you're wondering, you must be embarrassed to say that out loud. I am. I'm embarrassed to say that. To hear the words coming out of my mouth is embarrassing. And to know that I may publish this and you will hear this is embarrassing. But I don't know how to get it through my head. The problem I'm having, that in the face of all of this, I'm so lonely. I feel so alone that I would rather have her come back and have to fight for it and work for it and put energy into trying to fix and salvage that relationship. I would rather have that right now than go home and be alone. And I know there's not a lot of pride in that statement. There's not a lot of self-confidence. But it is my process. It is where I am right now. Being honest with you, that's what I'm thinking about. And maybe that'll change later. Maybe I'm at a low right now, and later on I'll think, oh, I was such an idiot before. Because the nature of this recovery is cyclical. You know, you do have ups and downs, and I feel like I am on a... My friend Anna has really been amazing through all this. And early on, she described the process as basically that. She said, you know, you're going to have ups and downs all the time, every day. She said, but you will be on a general uphill trend. So it's kind of a wavy uphill. And it's very much true. It's not a dramatic uphill. It's a very, very gentle uphill. A little too gentle for my liking. But there is a healing trend. I'm not close to healed. I'm still very broken. But, you know, I'm better now than I was in March. And that might just be because I'm used to the pain. I have no less pain in my life. But the continual presence of pain is more familiar. It doesn't destroy me as much. And according to the one book I've been reading, that's what it is to be human. Like, you can't be happy all the time. Pain is part of life. And then it comes down to, what do you do with your pain? And I freak out when I feel pain, particularly when I feel desperately lonely. I freak out because I don't know how to fix it. I freak out because I'm home alone in my house and I feel desperate. I feel like the world is moving on and I'm alone. I'm stuck and I'm alone. And you know, when you're feeling like that, it doesn't matter if you live in a nice house or a not nice house. Because it's desperate. You know, the place I live right now has a really amazing view. But when you're desperately alone, it doesn't matter. It feels like you're in a tower and life is happening below you. You know, if I was in some tiny studio with no view, I would feel like I was trapped in a box and life was happening outside and it didn't matter. And if I lived in some big house, you know, way out where you can afford bigger houses, I'd feel like I'm stuck in the country and everything is happening, you know, downtown and I'm removed from it. It doesn't matter. Like, your reaction is always going to be the same. If you're lonely, you'll just adapt it to your context. When my wife thinks I'm dragging my feet just so I get to live in the condo, she's just wrong. I love our condo because I loved my life with her in the condo. My lonely life, my alone life in the condo, it's lonely. Nothing's been redefined. Same bed, same pillows, same sheets, same bedroom where we used to sleep all the time together. It's all the same. I've removed some of the stuff and she's removed some of the stuff, but geographically it's all the same. So that's why we need to sell it. She's moved on and I haven't, and I need to move on. But so much work has to be done. It's this whole process. Every part of this process requires work. Work I don't want to do to live a life I don't want to live alone. And if only I could get behind that and be like, yeah, I'm excited for my new life. But nothing gives me hope. I hope that when I move to a new, smaller place that I have to pay exorbitant amounts of money for, that I'll be happy. I hope that being alone after downsizing my life makes me happy. I hope that having significantly less money after going through a divorce and having my whole financial situation change makes me happy. I don't feel filled with optimism over any of those alternatives right now. And then when I do the thing I shouldn't be doing and compare it to her, the future for her, I'm sure, represents a lot of work and financial risk and emotional risk and all of these things she has to do to go after the life she wants. And there's the difference. She's climbing. She's climbing out of this life into a life she thinks is better. A life with children. Into a life with a dressage rider. Not something she wanted. She always thought jumpers were better. Sorry, you folks that I know that do dressage. She did. She gave up her best friend. She destroyed her best friend. Not even like husband or person she's in love with, like best friend. Her best friend she destroyed. I think that's the part that hurts most. I wouldn't have liked if she told me she fell out of love with me and in love with somebody else in a way that was considerate or respectful or gentle. And I think that's what makes this so impossible to recover from. Best friends who spent almost every day of 7 years together. Kind of best friends. Not best friends who you've known longer and see intermittently. One of my really good friends I've known since middle school. And we were so close during high school, and we've sort of grown apart and grown together, so he's one of my oldest friends. But he's not my best friend. I used to watch movies and TV almost every night with my best friend and make dinner with my best friend, who I was also crazy attracted to and crazy in love with. But the foundation of that was like best friendship. And I think when you have that foundation, it's easy to adopt. When you have that foundation, there's no way you can imagine that relationship going bad. Because at your core, they're your best friend and you're their best friend. And you have that. And that's something people search for. For years, people look for somebody for that kind of strength of relationship. And she had it in me. And she just discarded it with apparent ease. I'm sure that she would say she suffers and she misses her best friend and she doesn't know how this all came to pass. But that doesn't really matter, does it? She doesn't have to be where she's at. She didn't have to move out. She didn't have to cheat on me. She didn't have to move in with him. She didn't have to cut me out. These are all acts of will that she performed. These are all things that she didn't have to do. He also could have said, hey, you're married. I'm not going to get with you. Get divorced first, then I'll get with you. So I have no respect for him. No well-wishings. No, yesterday she said something about, I just hoped we could support each other through all this. And I thought, you're crazy. No, I'm not going to support you in this. I'm not going to support that relationship. I will never celebrate any success from that relationship. But she thinks at some point, we'll reminisce. We'll be friends. She'll think of something funny and email me or text me and tell me about it. I don't want to know. I don't want to know if she's thinking about me. If you're thinking about me, if you want to know me, then fucking know me. I don't want to know your passing thoughts about oh, remember when? No. No, you broke me and disrespected us. Yeah, I remember when. I remember fucking everything. She doesn't seem to remember how good I was to her. She just sees her new target. She's love bombing the crap out of him. I feel like I'm being manipulated. I feel like she's manipulated the mediator in the way she's delivered information. And I feel like I need to do the work now to get all the information and not feel manipulated. And feel nothing when she tells me she resents me, or when she told me yesterday she feels like she married a con artist. This is one of those little barbs that sticks in your brain. Like, what? How can you possibly feel that way? That's just so mean to say. And that's it. You know, in one of my conversations today about her, the person I was talking to me about approaches to ways to talk to her so she doesn't get defensive and shut off. And I was just thinking, what a messed up scenario where I'm the victim. She broke up with me. She's doing all this stuff. And if I don't talk to her and handle her carefully enough, she will shut down. Why the F do I have to be careful with her? That's not a relationship you want. I know she's sensitive, and I know she's always been very sensitive. I used to find it really endearing. Like, I used to like that about her, that she was sensitive and empathetic. And now I feel like it's a manipulation tactic. In mediation yesterday, I asked her a really innocuous question, or said something really innocuous, and she asked me not to use such inflammatory language. And this was interesting. In our talk in the car yesterday, she called my ex by her first name. She never did that. She only ever called her your ex, sometimes Voldemort. But she only ever referred to her as your ex. And yesterday in the car, she basically said, you know, when you left your ex, you just walked away. You didn't sue her for things. But she used her name. Like, for the first time in years, she used her name. What does that mean? I'm probably overanalyzing, but I thought that was significant. She never uses her name. Thanks for listening. Probably edit this down a bit. This is 32 minutes of me talking to you the whole drive home. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being there. I got my burrito. I'm just hungry today. I didn't eat much yesterday, and just reading in my abandonment book about the victim's tendency to idealize the abandoner and the power the victim gives to them, making them sometimes more powerful than they actually are, like sort of being intimidated by them. And it rings really true with me. At the end of the day, she's just a person. And I attribute a lot of things, you know, I love her and I was devoted to her and gave my life to her and all that. The bit I was reading says more. It says the idealization makes it hard for other people, like friends and family, to understand why you can't just get over it. And I think that's really the problem. Is I think people do kind of feel like, just get angry, just get mad and be done with it and whatever. And I'm messed up. I'm a human, I'm an adult, I'm capable of functioning and being fine. Like, look, I got burritos, I know where to get ice cream. Like, I can be alive. But the relationship wiring in my brain, which is something I care about relationship dynamics. I think about it all the time. Like, I love relationships. That's part of why I love teaching, because you make relationships with each of your students, at least if you do it right. You know people and you can tailor your teaching to them. I'm fascinated by relationships. So I can assure you, the relationship that meant most in my life, I gave a whole lot of attention to. And I think that's it. I think when you invest so heavily in something and it breaks, if you're interested at all in relationships, which I am, you then try and figure out why it breaks. And since I got broken up with, if you don't have good self-esteem, which I don't terribly seem to have, then it makes you feel like I must have done something. So then it becomes your fault, which sucks. And then since you feel like it's your fault, the person that broke up with you was somehow justified or right in breaking up with you, since you feel like it was your fault. And that leads into this nasty cycle of self-blame and inability to get over it because you've taken the blame for something you didn't actually do.